Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today, I am starting a brand new series where I will be building my dream park in Planet Coaster 2. I've had this idea on building a quote-unquote dream park for quite some time now, and I've never really set aside time to actually do it, but recently I have acquired new time to actually do it, and here I am now making the first coaster in this area. So what I'm doing right now is I'm gonna be making areas, and then at the very end of this whole series I'll be making one central park around those areas. So kind of think of it like Epic Universe, how it has different portals and stuff. It's not gonna be portals per se, but it's gonna be like separate areas and then a giant central park connecting all of it. So I won't be doing the main central park until the very end. And so the first two coasters I'm gonna be making are gonna be two dueling coasters, and they're gonna be Intamin Blitz coasters, or as in the game it is called Raid. Sorry, I'm stuttering a lot. So my whole plan behind this first area is gonna be, I don't know if any of you guys have been to Ohio and been to Kings Island recently, or in general. Most of you will know that there's an area in Kings Island called Rivertown, and Rivertown has this like weird lore behind it. It's not really spoken about, like it's not really like shown. It's more implied than anything. It's honestly one of my favorite areas in a theme park. Period. Right now, I'm trying to mess around with transfer tracks. This will not be staying, by the way. I was trying to do like a spike upwards. I couldn't figure it out. It'll just transform into launches here soon. But I'll ramble on about what I was going on about before I do that. So my favorite ride at Kings Island has always been Mystic Timbers. And if you don't know what Mystic Timbers is, I don't know the manufacturer of it, but it's a wooden roller coaster that has an out-back layout like the Beast at Kings Island does. And it has a really cool ending element where you go into a shed, and the whole premise of the ride is don't go into the shed, and inside of it there's like a monster inside of it. If you are really curious on what it was, just look it up on YouTube. You can find a POV of it. It's an amazing ride. Some people will say that it's overrated. I don't think it is. I think it is well justified in the place that it is in my heart. And this is what this area that this coaster is going in is me inspired by. Like I mentioned before at the start, I'm going to be making areas instead of the central park, then the surrounding areas. This is going to be an area that's going to be mainly in woods and have that sort of feel to Mystic Timbers itself, because I love that ride so much. This ride is kind of like a reimagining of Mystic Timbers if it was a launch coaster instead of just a wooden coaster, but not really. It's more just inspired and taking ideas off of it. Like you'll see later on, I will be making a bunch of airtime hills, like I guess what you're seeing right now. A bunch of airtime hills and a bunch of outer banking turns like Mystic Timbers actually does at Kings Island. And I had a really cool idea for this main first launch. At the end, like I mentioned, at the end of Mystic Timbers, there is a shed that you go into, and it acts as like the block break. It is the block breaks before you go into the station, but they turn it into like actual like show building instead. And they have like projectors on screen, and they'll show you the monster, and it like lunges at you and stuff, which I think is really cool. I wanted to keep that shed aspect into this coaster, so that first launch is going to be the shed where you go into it and you launch out of it, if that makes sense. Right now I am struggling, as you saw earlier, I was struggling with the beginning. I am making double top hats to go over and around, and that's going to lead towards the entrance of this area, which you'll see is a really cool shot. I don't think I add the path until later on in the video. I do not remember. I'll bring it up again once we actually get down there. And another cool aspect of this area that I'm making is, like I mentioned before, if you guys have been to Kings Island and been avid fans of Kings Island and kept up with like its announcements and its trailers on YouTube, you might remember the announcement for Mystic Timbers. It showed vines growing all over the park itself, then all leading towards the woods of Mystic Timbers and the woods of Rivertown, Miami, which is where the whole fictional town is. And that's the kind of aspect I'm wanting to go for this ride itself. Like, I want vines and tree limbs and branches twisting up the supports and like making supports on this ride so it looks overgrown and like the woods is actually alive and it's coming for this coaster basically. And I'm gonna give you a brief rundown on the lore of Mystic Timbers and that whole area by itself, just as like a refresher to anybody that knows it and wants a refresher, or anybody that doesn't know it. Very, very brief, by the way. So, what it is basically the woods that is by the Miami River. That's where this place is. It's not actually on the Miami River, but it's like it's supposed to be. It's haunted. The woods is haunted, possessed. We don't really know. And a lumber company was taking advantage of these woods, and they were mining all of its resources and all of its natural beauty and everything like that, and that resulted in workers going missing and company trucks getting stolen and stuff like that, and that eventually drove the business out of that area and it became abandoned. Here, okay, right here you can see I'm building the entrance area. Originally wasn't supposed to be the entrance, but you'll see in a second I kind of lean into the fact of it being like almost an arch. It's really cool. But as I was saying, the person that rides the coaster, are breaking into this old abandoned Miami River Lumber Co. factory / logging company area. And what happens is you find an old company truck and you start it up and you get inside of it and the truck powers on and you start climbing up a hill, and the entire time while you're driving up the lift hill or going up the lift hill in general, there's a speaker on the sides and there's a security guard saying, hey you, get down, whatever you do not go in the shed. And that's where that whole thing comes from, and it's really cool. As you can see here, I was trying to make like a high five element, but I didn't really like it. It just felt the same. I kind of wanted one side to be more thrilling than the other, and that's where I'm doing this right now. I'm making I don't know if this would be a 0G roll or it's more of a corkscrew. It's not really banked to be a 0G, so I don't know. It's definitely not a heartline, but that is going to be where the path that enters into this area is going to be at, under those elements right there, which I think will be really cool. This coaster kind of boxes in this whole area, which I kind of like, and I'll have a bunch of different paths going over the track, going to like different areas. I'm planning on doing around 4 to 5 episodes per area in this series. I'm thinking about having like maybe 5 areas. I want to try to do it basically all original properties, not IPs like Universal does, but I would like at least two IPs in the park, 2 actually known themes. I already have one of them in mind. If you guys have any other suggestions, I would love that. I already have one that I'm kind of dead set on. Yep, see right here, I am adding the path that enters into this area. This is where I got that idea, and honestly, I love it. I took, as you saw in the thumbnail, this is where I got that thumbnail shot from. It's really cool. Now right here, the coaster's gonna be separating into 2 different paths. This one's gonna go all the way out and back in, and so is the other one. And I'm wanting the main path to be going kind of alongside what I'm making right now. These up and down and banked hills, like I was mentioning at the very start, at least these airtime hills, which is what Mystic Timbers is kind of known for. And right now I'm building in Immersive. Like I mentioned before, I want both sides to be a different experience. I don't want it to be like where it's the exact same every single time. Like kind of like what Stardust Racers is, the Epic Universe. They're similar, almost really similar rides, but the only thing that's different really is the Celestial Spin, where you get launched up into that corkscrew, and one that goes over then goes down. That's the only main difference. This one, I want it to be a heavy difference. I wanted it to be one's more thrilling, one's more G-force heavy than the other, one's more airtime heavy than the other. And right now I am smoothing the hell out of this thing because it was not smooth. I still need to work on my coaster building skills. Like, this is probably not the most realistic coaster there has ever been, but I am trying. I'm trying my damnedest, and who knows, maybe throughout the series I'll get 10 times better. I might revisit this coaster and reprofile some elements, because I definitely need to reprofile an element that's actually coming up here right now on this side. So on this side, it just got out of that corkscrew that it did going out of the launch and the top hat, and I was thinking about doing another corkscrew right there, but I was like, no, I needed another turnaround like with the Immelman, but I didn't want to do the exact same thing. Like I mentioned, I wanted to be different. So I decided at first to go with the Cobra roll. Now I thought this would be a good idea, but I don't think I realized how slow the train's going right now. And as you're seeing here, you'll see it here in the next few minutes, I will be struggling heavily with this Cobra roll, trying to make it look nice and actually flow correctly. As you saw, I just lowered it. I'm now trying to reprofile some of its sides. The game is not wanting to work for me, and eventually I just get rid of it entirely and I replace it with an element that I think is better. I need you guys' input on it, but as you saw, it just crept through that little loop, and I didn't really like it, so I just got rid of it entirely. I would like you guys' feedback on this whole area in general. My park, it needs a name. I have not thought of a park name yet, or a ride name. So both these coasters, I want to have names, obviously, and I don't have any right now. As I'm recording this, there's named Brown Side and Black Side because I turn one of the sides brown, I turn one of the sides black, like it's tracks and supports and stuff. And if you guys have any cool names that you can think of for these rides itself, please let me know. I think, right here I am making that element that I was talking about before, sort of like is it like an outer bank? I don't really know what the element is called, but I liked it. I'm gonna have to shrink it down, obviously, but it is kind of slow, so I might have to redo it as well. As you saw, I didn't make it over, but who knows? That's for editing me in the future to do. Also, I do apologize if there's any like background noise, or I'm stuttering a lot, or I'm not really talking clearly. This is my first time actually recording a time-lapse video, or just like a talking to a microphone video in general. My last upload on this channel was, I don't even know how long ago, and it was me playing a game, and I was not really happy with the video itself. But I kind of felt drawn toward these types of videos. If you guys know any of the YouTubers, like I watch Binging Adventures, Corvus, Digital Dan, I like their style of time-lapse videos where they just talk about what's going on the screen, and that's the whole bit, and I'm liking it. But I'm also really nervous talking to a microphone, so please excuse me if it's not like the highest quality microphone, if it's not the highest quality me, you know. Oh, but right now I am making this corkscrew that goes over these two. I wanted to sync the trains up more because right now they're joining back at different speeds, and I'm wanting to do a really cool, it's not really an element, it's more of a spectacle for the audience. The two coaster trains are going to be lapping over each other, doing like a spiral going down, and it's going to go down pretty far, and then that's going to lead towards the finale of the coaster. And right now I have been struggling to get this coaster fully synced up, and as you saw, it was not very what's it called, not very synced, and I've had to add some trim brakes here and there. I know people are not happy about it, I get it, but by the end of this video, the only trim brakes that are on the coaster right now, which are just on that left side and at the very top of the top hat, I get rid of every single other one that's there right now. In the POV, you might see some other ones near the end, but I got rid of those. I figured out how to match the speed perfectly, so we are a-okay in that department. So right now, as you see, I'm lowering this element down some more. It was giving me some problems. Now I like the way that it creeps through, but look at that. It just synced up. I was blown away at this. See, I stopped for a second and I was like, what? But yeah, it just synced up perfectly, so I am really glad on how that turned out. I think I'm gonna start building that element now. Yeah, as you see, I am wrapping the coaster track up and around, and I'll wrap the other one down and below. And it's gonna do a few laps of that over and under each other. I'm gonna have a path right next to it and do that similar thing. I might also add another coaster to this area. I don't know if it'll work because, like I mentioned, this whole area is kind of boxed in by this dueling coaster, which I love how it turned out, honestly. Yeah, it's like I mentioned before, it's not the most realistic coaster, which this park that I'm making is not going for realism. It's just going for having fun and making it look cool, making cool themed areas. Like you saw, yeah, that wraparound element is so cool. I love it. This park is not going to be fully realistic. Like, I'm not going to have maintenance paths. I'm not going to have, you know, like staff paths and whatever. I'm just going to be making it themed. I'm going to have like restaurants and facilities and benches and trash cans so like actual guests can use it. But I'm not going to be adding any of that other stuff. As you see right now, I am making the brake run beforehand, so I do not get an entire headache while trying to make the brake runs from the end of the track. I'd rather have it fully pre-planned out before anything. Yeah. So right now the coasters will be heading into this finale, which I wanted another launch, which I thought would be cool. Like, it would just be like a finale launch. It won't be like super duper fast. I at least wanted another one. This finale, I took a while trying to get it perfect because the whole coaster by itself has been pretty thrilling and pretty nice, but kind of iffy. So I wanted to end it off with some kind of interlapping corkscrews almost, but not really. They're just like right next to each other. I think it turned out very, very cool at the end. And you will see the POVs of each side at the very end with the actual colored tracks and everything. I might have mentioned this earlier, and if I did, please excuse me, but I'm wanting to keep the aspect of Mystic Timbers that it has when you're driving the trucks around as the actual trains. So the trains on Mystic Timbers they look like trucks that you're driving, which I think is really cool, and I'm wanting the same sort of aspect of that to be on these coasters as well. Definitely not the same story of like you breaking into this old abandoned like logging company or something like that. I'm wanting it to be a whole different story, which I have not figured out yet. If you guys have any ideas on the story, please let me know. And same with this area by itself. If you have any ideas on coasters to add, on any elements you want to see on that coaster that I mentioned earlier, if there's any suggestion for the name of this ride, for the name of other areas, please let me know. I would love your feedback. Like I mentioned before, this is my first time actually trying, and I want to see how the engagement can actually go on this thing. And I would really love and appreciate if you would take your time out of your day and tell me what you think about this area. And we are actually closing in on me finishing up this coaster. Right now I'm going back through and back and forth, making sure it's fully smooth for the POV, because it was pretty rough in a bunch of areas, especially here. I don't know why, but over here the launch kept getting like deleted from me like smoothing the tracks. It was weird. I don't know. But that first helix I made for the ending, I thought was pretty cool. I liked, I think I had a few bumps on it at the very end, especially on this one that I'm making right now. I'm wanting to make it a little more different than the other one. I do some like airtime hills and they'll dip down before going into the brake run, so it's just like a little different. Maybe it like catches up to the other one, because I think the black side actually quote unquote wins this race between both of the trains, but I'll have to go back and look. Actually, let's see. Oh no, it's the brown one. Cool. We are closing in on the ending of this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Here are the POVs. Bye bye.